would be joining. So,
Oh,
so
okay.
I get back to you on who all will be coming from Inherit Chain.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll do that latest by tomorrow. Okay.
Oh, sure, sure.
Just
Thank
have to
you.
check who all are coming. Obviously, I'm coming, but then I have to see if one or two people from my team can join. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Um, Maybe we can begin right now. Should we begin? Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Go for it.
yeah. Hi, guys. Um, sorry, we have a few participants here now. Hi, guys. Welcome to the mentorship session with Inherit Chain and Blockchain and Food Transparency. So we have here our speaker Manish from Inherit Chain. Yeah, so Manish, maybe you can introduce yourself, what you do, and what your expectations are, what you're looking for in terms of this problem.
Yes, hi everyone. Thanks for joining. First of all, thanks for participating in this hackathon because it's very exciting. Two things could happen for you guys. One, you will obviously get an experience of building a use case, solving a problem, and then also from employers' perspective, we will get to see, a good talent where there's a future potential to work together. Um, so that's the overall intent of this hackathon. I'm sure you guys already know, but I just wanted to reiterate. My name is Manish Dixit. I'm a co-founder here at Inherit Chain. We started about 3 years back. Inherit Chain focuses on technologies like blockchain and AI. Right now, the first use case we are building around legal tech, which is automating a lot of legal processes, anchoring the documents into blockchain, and also putting together a remote witnessing solution. In the past, I have worked on other use cases like academic credential validation via blockchain, food traceability, and so forth. Um, my further background is like I'm an entrepreneur, built two companies, exited from it. Right now, really pushing Inherit Chain further. Happy to be here. I love the excitement and enthusiasm around hackathons. Last 3, 4 years, we've seen tremendous growth from 100 people all the way to 1,000 plus people joining our hackathon. So, really excited to be here. Let me know if I could help you with building your use case, solving your problem statements, and so forth.
Yeah, so thank you, Manish. Guys, if you have any questions, feel free to unmute your mic or put them in the chat box. Now would be the perfect time to ask questions, to our speaker. If you want to get Manish's perspective in terms of your solution, you can also present it here. No worries. Yes, so guys, have anything? Manish, do you have any expectations for them when it comes to presenting their project pitch and stuff? Do you have any advice for them?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Last hackathon, I felt that a lot of groups have had a good solution, but they were not able to pitch it properly. So keep in mind, you get 2, 3 minutes to put together your pitch, um, and make sure you're practicing that. So because we don't know, we let's say if I'm judging about 10 groups, it's very difficult for me to put my points around if it's not articulated properly. You may have a good solution, but you have to practice how to present it. So pick a person who's got a best communication within your group, have them present it. Ideally, the best way to present is, okay, let's say if there are 4 people, everybody take turns. That means it's not just one person's project because it's not supposed to be one person's project. It's supposed to be um, the group project. So ideally, you take turns within those 3 to 5 minutes pitch that you guys get, and then just pick areas. One person could be introductions, other person could be talking about the problem, solution, the business model, and so forth. So that's number one highest priority tip that I could give you guys. Because if you present it properly, then you have a good chance of winning. Hopefully that helps.
Yeah, thank you, Manish. So we have a question here from Sayed. Um, I wanted to ask what would be your expectation from this hackathon? Like, what would you think participants can do to make their idea stand out and maybe even win? So it's just a follow-up from what you said earlier. Yeah, maybe you can give
Well,
us some
I
thought.
think, partially I answered this question because, it's how well you're presenting it. That's number one. Okay. And then number two is it's not just presentation. You may have a best presentation, but then you didn't really think about the problem solution properly. So step one, understand the problem statement properly, articulate it, and then present the solution. Now, to go to the next level, some people are just doing PowerPoint, some people are able to put together screens. So it all depends on how far you guys able to build it. But any visual, whether in the form of screens or Figma designs, is always good. That gives us a visual as to, okay, what your solution looks like. Because we can then, rather than just PowerPoint, then we can visualize that, okay, it's a genuine real-time solution that you guys are presenting.
Yep,
Make sense?
yep, there we go. I hope this answers your question, Sayed. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, if you guys have any other questions, especially if you guys are working on the food traceability theme, because it can be a complicated or difficult topic. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, especially more on the technical side, you can always ask it. You can always unmute or use a chat box. Are all of you guys working on the food traceability challenge, or do you have other challenges that you're involved in?
I would say unmute yourself, practice some question asking, communication, not just typing. Typing is easy. I would highly recommend, like, really talking to us, um, and then so forth. Okay?
Yeah. So we have Jishan Preet here. I believe he was also here yesterday. So yeah,
Yeah,
you
I
have the
think we
floor.
spoke to you, Jashan, last time. So that was
Yes,
good.
we
So
did.
you're really progressing. So that's good. Please go ahead, ask question.
Thank you. Yeah, so remember how we talked about uh, something like McDonald's, they wouldn't want to make their data transparent because nobody would buy it from them then, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
in that case, our solution is that you don't have to show all of your weaknesses. Don't make your weaknesses transparent, make your strengths transparent. You can selectively store the data that you're proud of on a public blockchain and make it available to the users. But the other data, you can store it on your private network, so nobody else has access to it, but you can still use it for your own logistics or whatever, all that stuff. So of course, from business point of view, like you show your strengths, no weaknesses. What do you think about this solution?
Well, it's always a gray area. This one is a gray area because then that means you're selective on what you're showing. The purpose of complete transparency is like you show pretty much everything, right? But we know the world we live in that may or may not happen. So I think it's a good start to at least show the good things, right? I don't think it's a bad start. So to answer your question, even if let's say you've got 10 things and then five things you feel that you means whosoever is the corporation here, they feel that there are five things they're doing genuinely and good, they can show that, that's fine, but there are always going to be a question, what about those five things which are not shown, right? Um, so it's always a gray area. I don't have an answer to that. That's pretty much like a business decision, what they want to show, what they don't want to show. But obviously, it's a good step forward because right now, let's say they're not showing all the 10 things versus they're now showing five things. It's always a good step forward. And internally, the corporates could think about it. Okay, what are those five things which we are not showing? or sharing, can we try and improve on it so that we have a face to show those remaining five things as well? So this transparency is not going to happen in one day, but it could be a step forward, is what I feel. Okay.
Yes, makes sense. And I have similar feelings as well. Like, of course, if there are some shady things, you wouldn't want to show them. As a business, you just wouldn't do that because then nobody would
Yeah.
purchase, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there are also, I assume, good actors in the market who do things well in a trustable way, who want to make all of it or like a lot of things transparent so that consumers can really trust them. Like a lot of companies, even in the organic section, let's say, they make a lot of good claims and they mark up their prices by a lot, right? So now they want to really verify their claims because how can we trust them? Now, if one company, let's say another company is very similar to McDonald's, and they make their data transparent, they all like they do everything very ethically. They make the, I don't know if it's possible to do it ethically, but let's say, and if they do it ethically, then they make the data transparent. The consumer would, if they have two choices, one is very transparent, clear about how they're doing things. The other one, not so much. They would clearly go there, right? And then that's just, if the market changes, then everybody has to adapt. Just for kind of forces them to. And even in the case that we are unable to force McDonald's to make everything transparent, as you said, step forward, right? At least we can get something going. So like we can at least enable the good actors to really prove that they are actually good actors, and the others can choose to follow or not. I had a talk with somebody from Aramark just now in the previous section meeting. Aramark deals with like supply chain logistics and stuff, and this is similar to what they said. Like, let's say there are suppliers, one of them uses more ethical modes of transportation, like electrical vehicles, and the other one doesn't. Then the uh, retailers would be more likely to purchase from the supplier who is more ethical, and then the other one kind of has to conform to the standard. That's what they felt. Like they said that year over year, it is becoming that this they do they really do what they say they're all about? That kind of stuff. So yeah,
Well, that's pretty much it. So it's just a case of one actor or one particular brand coming forward and saying, "Hey, look, I'm gonna make it complete transparent. Yeah, there's an extra
mhm.
effort, but I'm gonna do it anyways, right?" And then all of a sudden, I'm hoping that they get a good response from all the consumers and everybody else in between. Then the other brands will be forced to kind of follow, right? So it's just a case of one or two solid companies or brands coming forward, implementing that end-to-end transparency, traceability, and then moving forward, then it'll be a case of like everybody else follows, right? So yeah, that's always a good step forward. But I feel that there are some brands who are working towards that. Again, it's a long-term process. It doesn't happen in one day, but I know they're working towards getting that at least 80 to 90% transparency within their chains.
That's what I heard as well. That's
Yeah.
exactly what I heard. That they said that people are working on it. Of course, it's not public yet, but it will happen. That's what the
Yes.
person from
There we
Aramark
go.
told me.
So that's your answer. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And Manish, I feel that now this is like even this single topic is leads to such a long discussion, right? Like there are so many flaws, like potential flaws that somebody might perceive in a project idea. But in the hackathon, there is limited time, so and it takes a lot of discussion to really flesh out whether something is a flaw or not for to help the judge decide. So what do you think about this? How much is this important? Like these potential flaws? Is it good enough
Have you
that
finally decided your lane? I know you want to address multi
yes,
chains or single chain. Have you
multi-component.
decided on your lane yet?
Yes, it will be multi-component, multi-ingredients.
Okay. So granola bar?
Yes, probably. That's the
Okay.
exact example I heard from Ramark that, so I'll just go with that.
Okay, so then you got your problem statement. So what's your question? Is it a genuine problem? Well, they are ARM, if they giving you the problem, then that is a genuine problem, you know?
Yes, my concern is in specifically the judging phase, because if when we have this is a relatively complex solution, right? So there are a lot of things that even this part about like McDonald's doesn't want to make it transparent, right? That can be like perceived as a flaw, but after our discussion, we have come to like a more neutral opinion about this issue, I think, right? But in the
Yeah.
hackathon, there is limited time. So, like, would this be a problem there? Like, if you feel like, oh, there are actually these four flaws in this application, but we won't actually have time to discuss these four flaws. Would you just instead focus on the things that we do that are actually good, or would you be thinking about like, oh, but there are some, I think there are some flaws, so I will deduct marks or something like that.
Well, no, basically, you have to prove one particular thing. So let's say in granola, there are 10 ingredients going in, right? So you could pick
Mm-hmm.
two. Let's say you pick, I don't know, just Rice Krispies or whatever or the sugar or honey, whatever that is, right? You pick two ingredients and then you show how it's going to be done with one particular supplier all the way till the final product being built. And then you can demonstrate that similarly we can integrate other suppliers in a similar fashion. That will give us enough thought that okay, yes, this group has thought through. Yeah, because of the limited time, they cannot demonstrate everything. So, but they have done two, right? So that's the way to tackle this. And like I said, the more visuals you can think about. I don't know what's your team look like, but if somebody is good in front end, they can put together some sort of interface. Even Figma would be good. Like if somebody knows Figma, just the screens on how it's going to come together. Obviously, followed by your presentation or a demo. Yeah.
Hello.
In this case, I guess implementation is also kind of important. So it would be a little better if we actually implement this, at least this hybrid blockchain logic, to really show that this can be done. Otherwise, it's just words and not as trustworthy, right?
Yes. Yes.
Makes sense. Okay, thank you.
Okay. All the best. We'll see you Saturday.
Thanks, Manish. I'll see you.
Yeah, thank you for that. I guess at the end you just need to have a good story to tell, you know. We have another question at chat box. So from Utpal, I was wondering, with blockchain making everything transparent, could it lead to food price manipulation by powerful industry players? Yeah, so Manish, what do you think of that?
Utpal, so come up, talk to me if you can.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was wondering if blockchain is making everything transparent, uh what do you think? Like maybe other competitors can also see like what's going on with our organization. So does that make any difference?
Well, that's what, if you were listening to our conversation with Jashan, our thought was okay, don't just make everything transparent. It's a business
Hmm.
decision as to, okay, what is what do you call, non-confidential stuff. There will always be
Okay.
stuff which is confidential, but at the same time, um, there is a stuff which is non-confidential which can be of public interest, right? So you're not going to
Yeah.
completely show everything, and that's been the issue, because with blockchain it's a tricky one, because either you show everything or you don't show anything, right? So that's where we're thinking about hybrid solution or permission solution, where we open up certain channels where you purposefully decide what are the things you want to show. Like even if you think about a package tracking today, they're showing what they need to show. They're not showing everything. Like, okay, if there is a ship between, I don't know, New York to Dubai, they're not necessarily showing, everything in between. It's just they're showing in transit. So yeah, I think it's the businesses have to really think it through. And then they have to also closely talk to the consumers. Okay, what are the things of importance to consumer? So, you in terms of food traceability, you can really study about whole foods. Do you know about whole foods?
No, I have to look into that.
Yeah, the whole food market has picked up really well. Eventually, Amazon took over. Um, but
Mhm.
then that's what their promise is. They're trying to bring in less processed food to the consumers, right? So it's
Okay.
doing very well. Versus if you go to the normal stores, you see the level of processing that has gone through. I'm not saying processing is all bad, but that's the concept around whole foods. Consume as much less processed as you can, right?
Right, yeah. I got the idea, yeah. So we don't want to make everything transparent. We can just pick some part
Yes,
which can be public in certain way. Yeah, yeah,
correct. Which is
yeah.
of
Yeah, yeah.
interest to the consumers, right? Like,
To the
if
public and
I'm
other
paying, let's say if
consumers.
I'm paying for organic ginger, that I always take an example. If I'm paying $5 for organic ginger, then is it really organic? So I want to know if it is really organic. They're claiming it's organic, but is it really, right? So
Oh
then
yeah,
at that point, I'd like to see a full log. Um, okay, where was it sourced? Where was it? Who was the farmer? And things like that. That'll give
yeah,
me confidence that okay, it's genuinely organic, right?
yeah. This is really interesting now that we think about it. Like, yeah, like maybe some companies like overcharging, like organic ginger or whatever. Now we can just trace, like, yeah, we can just compare to companies, and this is more reliable company, and we can just compare it. So yeah, we can. This can be like really helpful.
Yes, there we go. All the best.
Thank you for the insights. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Manish. Thank you, guys. And if you guys have any questions or you would like to consult Manish regarding your solution, now would be the perfect time to do so. Now, it's always best to get another set of eyes. Oh, Manish, I have a question. Just curious. Do you have an idea or if you have had any experience implementing a food traceability thing in a third world country? So I know that blockchain, food transparency, food traceability, it almost always applies to a first world perspective. So I was just wondering how it would look like if we put it in a third world country per se.
I don't think it has to do anything with the first world country or second world or third world, to be honest. Um, I think the consumers are consumers. Everybody needs it. Uh, if you think about, let's say, US and Canada, you see a lot more processed foods within our grocery stores. If you go to other places in the world, I don't think you will see that many processed foods, right? So to answer your question, why should it be restricted to North America? It should be, I think, pretty much everywhere that can be implemented, right?
Yeah, I was just thinking, so I'm a Filipino, so I was just thinking in the context of the Philippines where, you know, data is not that kept well. I mean, we don't have like a it's like unlike here in Canada where everything is well documented. I don't think the same goes in the Philippines, especially in the agriculture sectors. I was just thinking like how it could possibly work.
Well, to be honest, I can speak about a little bit about India, for example. So there is like a big wave around digitization, and this big wave is not just happening in the cities; it is actually percolating all the way to the villages and stuff, right? To the farmers and everybody. So even the farmers are getting more, on board with tech, and they're becoming more digital savvy, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
And then now there's like AI, right? I remember Satya, Microsoft's CEO, talking about how a villager is actually taking advantage of some of the subsidies that government is giving, and this guy is not tech savvy, so he's just able to kind of speak through this copilot or this AI bot, and then he's able to just speak whatever he needs to speak in his local language, and then AI bot is able to process that, convert, translate it, push all that information into the form, fill the form out, and then submit the form on the behalf of that particular farmer, right? So
Okay.
this is the power of AI agents today. So the language is not a barrier, technology is not a barrier today. As long as there's obviously some sort of connectivity available. Even if there's less connectivity, there's like a LoRa WAN or extended WANs, which can then still take the information, and then whenever the connectivity is available, slowly but steadily push the data back into the main servers, and from there it's pushed into the cloud, right?
Okay, okay.
So I
Yeah.
don't think it should be restricted to North America. In fact, I strongly feel it's a global phenomenon. And to our surprise, a lot of times maybe North American chains are complex. But if you go back to Philippines or India, the chains are not that complex. So it'll be easier to implement. There won't be any bureaucracy even.
Okay. That's a very good insight. I think that's also a nice use of AI because there's always been a gap between the farmers and their access to these types of programs, especially because of their lack of digital skills and the language barrier as well. Okay, that's a nice thought. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So with this now, like a next wave of like intelligent farming, um, the farmer should be able to take advantage of all the data that is available. Um, like, okay, because through sensors and IoT devices these days, you could probably be sensing all these things. So, okay, is the humidity level correct? Is the soil level, is it too acidic or whatnot, right? So, and these are very simple devices which a farmer could take advantage, right? Because end of the day, a farmer is always confused. Okay, how come I'm not getting the yield, right? So the good news is now that if he connects to the intelligent farming, then he would have all kinds of support available from the back end, right?
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah. Just need to establish it first, really.
Yeah, and then as I was talking to, I believe Jashan or Utpal, it's just a case of one particular brand coming all the way through and implementing and demonstrating the solution. It's going to take a little bit of effort. But in case of Philippines, let's say if there's a big rice brand, they want to just implement this traceability because their rice is going all the way globally. So if they can implement this at a ground level, then wherever rice travels, a bag of rice travels, for example, then it's easier to plug into other ecosystems to be able to finish the chain, but at least they could take care of their part.
Yes. Yeah. I yeah, that's nice. That's an interesting thought. I suppose it really is if one moves forward and creates a demand for it, then the rest will follow.
Pretty much, that's all has to happen, because I know there's a genuine number of consumers who are wanting it,
Yeah.
desiring it, um, and then the consumers will prove it because let's say in my case, if I'm waiting for this traceability to be available, and all of a sudden this brand is doing it, I will be more inclined to buy from them, right?
Yes,
And then
yes.
there may be other people like me, and all of a sudden that brand will start taking off because people were looking for it, right?
Yes.
And then that's it. Once the brand takes off, then other brands would be like, oh, we don't want to be left behind. Let's make sure that we also do it. Make sense?
Yes, yes, sorry, there was quite a noise in our place. Yep. Thank you so much, Manish. Guys, if you have any more questions, anything else you would like to share regarding the topic, feel free to speak up or just put it in the comments.
So how many groups we have for food traceability, Abby?
Oh, I'm actually not sure. I have to check in with the group real quick, if it's okay.
So I know the group I was talking to yesterday, they are on board with it. So that's one. And then Jashan's group, I don't know how many people are there. That's definitely two. Probably you would have 4 or 5 groups, huh?
Yeah, maybe. I'll see. Sorry, I'll see if I can ask them. Wait. In the meantime, if you guys have anything else that you would like to share, feel free to speak up. This is a good practice.
Okay, I guess we don't have any more queries, looks like.
Yeah. Last chance, guys. Last chance. In case there's anything else you would like to ask before we cap off this session.
So Samarth, what are you working on? I'm gonna pick on somebody. Just wake them up.
Actually, I am in the Jason's group, so the same idea, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Clemens, what are you working on? I see Clemens in there.
Yeah, Clemens, we see you.
So are you guys Seneca graduates or are you still
I am a student on my last semester.
Oh, students. Oh,
okay.
Clemens has spoken up. Like,
Welcome, yeah.
yeah, so Clemens is working on the AI monitoring for crops, but unfortunately, it's not part of the problem set. You can still push for that, I think.
Oh, you could always mix it up. AI, AI could be mixed up anywhere. AI with blockchain, AI with cloud, AI with everything. So I'm sure you can mix it up.
Yeah, it's an interesting world we live in right now.
Yeah, that's the future. It's growing very fast, whether we like it or not. So A tip for you guys: make sure, obviously, blockchain is good, um, but get on board with ML and AI as much as you can. That's
Yeah,
going to really help you going forward in your career.
yeah, exactly. We have here Sayid. Oh, he's working on a system that focused on retail and innovation, but has a basis on nutrition. Well, that's nice. You want
Who
to
is
tell us
that?
more about it? Sayid? Sayid? Sorry if I'm botching the name.
Okay, let me just open chat. Hold on. We're working on a system that's focused on retail, but has a basis on nutrition. I'd like to know more about it.
Yeah, it seems interesting.
Yeah.
Go Sayid, if you'd like to tell us more about it. It's a perfect practice case for you. Just imagine you're pitching it to us.
Yes, Syed. Go for it.
Oh, it recommends you groceries based on location, cost, and dietary needs. So that's nice.
So it's a recommendation engine. Um, okay, that's good. I think that's a good initiative. Build it further. Would like to kind of build it further. What do you have in mind? So are you going to recommend locally grown? Is that the point?
So he's kind of hoping it to be usable for both customers and businesses alike. So that's nice.
Yeah, well, it has to be. It's an ecosystem, right? So, it's just not one-sided at all. Um,
Yeah, so thank you for that,
there's
Sayed.
something
Yeah.
called, I don't know if you've heard of it, Sayed. There's something called 100-mile diet. Um, have you heard of it? So the idea is, okay, whatever you consume should should be able to come from like wherever you are consuming or wherever you're living within 100 miles radius, right? So imagine an ecosystem where everything is kind of locally grown, locally sourced, locally produced. How powerful that particular community would be, right? So it's like a really, great on sustainability. But in Canada, we obviously have an issue because of the weather and so forth. So um, it will not be possible in winter. So the only days it will be possible would be those 3, 4 months. Um, so that's another initiative that is pretty popular, 100 miles diet. So there may be things which may not be available within 100 miles, but then it's a case of a little bit of behavioral change. Um, and I think it's achievable. Like if consumers are like, okay, I want to make sure I consume as much local as I can. Obviously, that means that, okay, obviously, banana is not grown here. What are you going to do? Not eat bananas? So, um, yeah, it's a little bit of behavioral change in that sense. But you could say, okay, I'm going to try at least 60% of my diet coming from locally grown. That'll be nice.
Yeah, so uh did that answer your question, Sayed, like regarding the recommendations? I know you asked if he has any other recommendations as a consumer, but would you like to ask more about it since we are nearing the end of our time?
What's the question? I don't understand.
Oh, sorry. He asked if you would have any other recommendations that you would like as a consumer. I believe you kind of glossed over it with your response earlier regarding the 100-mile diet.
Yeah. Well, these days it could be not necessarily 100-mile, but even if it's like Canadian sourced, that has a value today, for example, right? So, because obviously, as soon as you import from US, you're paying tariffs and duties and whatnot. So, and then like whether you like it or not, I mean, the chains are so, or supply chains are so intermingled. There could be a farmer in Wisconsin that is supplying the cheese to us in Toronto. We may not know, right? But then there's farmer in Quebec who does supply, cheese and maybe better cheese. It's just not available in Toronto grocery stores. So that awareness would be exciting to Canadians, given the current moment of what's happening, right? So if I have a choice of uh, buying a cheese which is Quebec based and buying a cheese which is Wisconsin based, what would I pick? I would like to pick Quebec based just to promote Canadian.
Yeah, so he was asking if we should show rare or regional commodities, like from your perspective.
Yeah, I think so. If there's a distinction, or it could be a distinction, and I think a lot of brands are working on that distinction, right? So, and then you'll see that maple kind of displayed. So the other day I bought a ketchup, um, and it had a maple leaf in it as a brand. So that means it's pretty much locally grown and processed as much as it's Heinz, which may or may not be Canadian company. But then, so Windsor or Lewiston is a capital for tomatoes. So it could be a case of, okay, locally grown tomatoes that were picked within Livingston, processed within Canadian plants, and delivered to us, right? So it's pretty much Canadian grown.
Yeah, so thank you for
So,
this. Yeah, sorry, sorry,
okay,
sorry for
so
cutting you.
I'm just gonna start talking. So would you like prefer like then we should we work on like a type of buy Canadian part of the for the store as well? Like just that shows like the Canadian items specifically.
Sorry, I missed the first part. Say that again.
Like for the pro so like you mentioned like regional commodities. Would you mean like then we can like recommend like items that are only available in Canada or are Canadian made? Like the buy Canadian products.
Yeah, that'll be amazing. If grocery stores could do that, that'll be a
Yeah.
big change, to be honest. Like okay, so they do have, let's say, breakdown from aisles based on, okay, here's the Asian aisle, here's Canadian aisle, or in terms of like the kind of foods that are available, here's Italian aisle and so forth. But now they have to, obviously, it's a change. Now they could either within that aisle, they could have half the aisle for like globally sourced and half the aisle with Canadian sourced, making easier for consumers to pick.
Yeah,
Obviously, they have to
makes sense.
keep um, the globally sourced at this point. They can't just discontinue that. But then they're giving
Yeah.
options, right?
Yeah.
And
I was like
then
thinking of
and then maybe Canadian is expensive. Who knows? But then that's where the Canadians have to work on, okay, how could I be globally competitive, right? So I give you an example. You go buy honey. There's like 5 bottles of honey. There's one Canadian sourced, there's one, let's say, European sourced, there's one from Middle East, and so forth. There are 5 bottles, right? So I would tend to buy Canadian if I could, but I should be given that choice.
I was kind of also thinking about adding like a system, like in Australia, they have like a thing where it shows how much of a product is made in Australia. They have like a percentage meter. I was thinking like adding something similar to that as well. So you can see like how much of the product you're buying is actually Canadian, so you know. Do you think
Well,
that would also work?
I'm glad you bringing Australian example because I went there and I was like, the local people are so aware about buying Australian. It's a big deal. Um, I don't think Canadians are there yet, to be honest.
Yeah.
So, I think it has to be a movement, and this could be just a trigger point that we were waiting for because we were so intermingled, especially with the North American supply chains. Um, it could change pretty quickly. But that pride, that buy Canadian movement has to pretty much really be taking off. I think it's long overdue, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys. Sorry to cut in. But we're ending the session. Sorry. Yeah, thank you very much.
Sorry.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much for your insights. Thank you very much, Manish, for being with us.
Okay. Yeah, thanks everyone.
Yeah.
All the best, and we'll see some of you guys on Saturday. Okay.
Thank you. See you, Manish, on Saturday as well.
All right. Take care, guys.
Bye.